What's up everybody, I'm Abatage and welcome to Banished. That's right, a few people mentioned this to me and told me I should play it because it's kind of up my alley and kind of a good city builder game, and I went and got it on Steam, and within a few days I'd played about 24 hours worth of Banished, and yeah, had a couple of interesting games. I'm not going to load a game, but these are my previous games. I've had two that I've saved anyway. This one, Abatageham, is my most successful, and it's quite stable and going on, and that's the one you can see in the background here. And this one, Abatageham, was a nightmare. That was my first one, and it all went to shit, to say the least. And that's why I thought it would be fun to play this game, because even though it is fairly slow going, it's a real balancing act. It's basically the game of population control. But we're going to start a new one. We're not going to call it Countville. We're going to call it... I always tend to put a spin on abatage for player names and town names and that sort of thing. So what's another typical kind of place? Abatageham. That'll do. Now we will do valleys because apparently mountains is harder. Gonna do a large map because I like large maps. Climate, fair, that's about, yeah, medium. Starting conditions, medium. Disasters, on. Now, the main difference is starting conditions and climate. If the climate is mild, there's not a lot of, like, threat from the cold and all that kind of thing. The starting conditions, it just depends on what you start with. So, easy is you start off with a large amount of clothing, food, firewood, building materials, and tools. You get some homes and storage areas which have already been built. You've already got seeds for fields and orchards, as well as livestock, which is pretty good. Hard basically starts you with nothing. Small amount of everything. No seeds or farming are available. Medium will give you 5 families, clothing, food, fireworks, tools, and construction materials are provided. A storage barn's been built. Some seeds for fields and orchards are available. So we're going to start with medium because it's a nice average kind of start, but we're going to do a large map because why not? And let's do it. Let's make the grand town of Abatageham. The town name doesn't really come into it much beyond naming it initially. But yeah, this game is basically all about population control and balancing growth with birth rates and production and that sort of thing. And you've probably seen it around, but we're going to do it all our own way. So let's have a quick look to begin with. Let's start off looking at what kind of map we're dealing with. Let's get the map up. Here we go. I like having a mini-map because it's kind of cool. You can see very quickly what sort of terrain you've got. So over here we've got a whole lot of lakes and a river, and that's probably where the old trader is going to come. Or maybe along this river. No, that's too small. Must be this river. So we're going to have to... Where are we? We're over here. Oh, this is going to be hard to get a trading post set up. Because we're smack bang in the middle here. There's lots of good flat ground here to expand on. Which is nice. And there's a nice lake here for fishing and so forth. But we're going to have to... Yeah, we're going to have to build a trading post kind of this away, I guess, because you need trading posts to get livestock and that sort of thing, or maybe down here, but it's quite far away. And if you've seen or played anything to do with this game, you'll know that distance plays an important factor. But I'm going to get up all the things that I like to have up. This is our little overview of everything. So we can see we've currently got 120 logs, 200 firewood, 1800 stored food. This is our health and our happiness, and so on and so forth. We've got 10 adults and 5 children. It's currently 1 degrees and it's early spring, so we're ready for everything. The event log is also a good one. Where will we put that? I forget how I usually have this configured. Actually, yeah, we put the event log there. I reckon I'll put the professions here. I like to keep this open because it always shows you how many people you have in every profession. So at the moment we've got 10 labourers because they don't have a profession. Children don't get a profession. And this is very important when it comes to managing your population. So then let's put the mini-map down there just to get it out of the way. And I think that's pretty much all I have on constantly. There are other things here that we'll dip into every now and then, like resource limits. So this is the maximum. When they create or produce X number of whatever, they'll stop when they hit the limit, which is good if you don't want to overload your storage barns and that sort of thing. And there's some other stuff as well that's quite useful. But first of all, because we need to balance this fairly well, I'm thinking we will need... Let's get this going. And let's build a crop field to begin with. Now, if I remember correctly, we should be able to do this 15 by 15 is the max. Yep. So there we are, nice big crop field. Fields are kind of... They're kind of difficult because they need... I think it's 4 farmers for each large field. So all our dudes at the moment are going to go in and chop down all the trees and clear out the land so that we can get our field going. While that's happening, let's build some houses. Now, I like the randomness of houses because every time you select the house, you get a different style of house. I think there's a shortcut to actually change the house on the fly, but I don't want to do that. I also tend to keep things fairly compact. But we'll need a few houses to start off with so that everyone will have somewhere to live. So we'll assign a couple of builders, because we don't need... we could assign 4 builders because they all need to do something. And we can also put in some dirt roads. Just like that. And now we have our field. Let's see what's... Oh, we've got corn and we've got squash. Let's start with some corn. And we'll assign 4 farmers. So that'll leave us with 2 labourers, 4 builders and 4 farmers. Now they're all going to start going to the stockpile and stockpiling up gear for each of these houses. You can see like this one's 30% complete because they've gathered 30% of the materials and the building. Our builders have decided to focus on the road instead of the instead of the houses, but we can change that by setting priorities. At least I think we can. Increase priority. There we go. Maybe that will make... I've never really been sure about the priority thing. But anyway, as I was saying, in Banished there's a lot of balancing acts to do, and most of the game is spent figuring out stuff like having enough new children born by having enough houses for people to set up new families with, versus actually having enough food to feed them and all that sort of stuff. So this could go terribly, essentially. What else do we need? We need some production. What have we got here? Storage barns, that sort of thing, trading posts, okay. We need a well, in case something catches on fire. So we'll plonk that down to get built. We won't really need anything else. Food, resources, we'll need a woodcutter. The woodcutter will make firewood, so that they have stuff to burn in the cold nights. So here we've got logs, there's stone, iron, and this is firewood here. So each house will have an inventory. So Here you can see we've got a builder, and a child all living together. That's one little family. And their inventory is currently empty, but they're bringing firewood in right now. So they'll take firewood from the stack and put it in the house to use over winter and that sort of thing. And the main reason I set up this farming plot first was because we want to have enough food stored in the barn. At the moment we've got a bunch of potatoes, some coats and some tools, but we want enough food stored in the barn to last us through the winter. And at the moment it's early spring, so it's a good time to start planting, and they'll get a harvest in before the next winter, and hopefully that means everything will be lovely. Now let's get a little bit of a plan going for other stuff. The way I've found it's worked best is if I build things far away to have houses near them so that people aren't travelling so far. That seems to work well, I think. Let's just speed up a little to get these houses built. Oh, the reserve of stone is low. We're going to have to go get some stone from out in the wild. Now here we can pick up resources. So we can just remove all the resources from an area, or we can designate trees, stone or iron. So I'm just going to designate stone right now. And let's grab this stone here. And this stone here. So our labourers will go out and do that. I think I might need one more house at this stage. But I'm probably going to plonk one down further out this way, because what I want to build for resources is a forester lodge. Which is this one. You can see there's an aura around it. So the foresters will plant trees within that aura and also chop them down. And the first one you place is usually not in the best place because you don't want it too far away from everyone. But you also want it close enough that they can chop stuff down and bring it back to the storage place. So I might actually just pop it up here. Yeah, let's pop it right there. You can see they're planting away down here. Now I haven't built another house here because I want to build one up near where I've popped the forester lodge, if I can find it. There it is. So I want to build a road just so we know where we're going. Oh, nah, screw it. We'll just build a house, hey. So I usually use the red because it's showing me that that bit's red, so I can't build there. So I know that that's lined up because I've got it. It's the only place I can build it. So let's speed it up again for a second. How's our stone looking? We've got 76 stone. It's not a bad start. Oh look, there's some animals floating around out here. These guys are chopping up some stone while they're doing their thing. Nice. We're going to need a blacksmith soon as well to start making some tools. Our stone reserve is low again. You'll see these notifications come up at the top here. So you've had one child become an adult and start working as a labourer. This will tell us everything like whenever a child's born, or whenever a child grows up and becomes a labourer, or anything like that. And it's actually very useful and good to keep an eye on, which is why I like having it always displayed. Let's just make sure everything's kind of nice and neat. And yeah, this is Banished. So you can see now we've built this woodcutter. I need to assign someone as a woodcutter, which I'll do right now. We've just had someone else grow up and become a labourer. And let's speed it up again. We've got 4 of 4 builders, so we're meeting the requirements so far. Where is this forester's hut? Here we go. There's a house that's going to be built there, and a lodge that's going to be built there. They'll come in and chop down these trees. Next thing I'll probably get is either a blacksmith, or I'll build a road out here and make some fishing docks. Because fishing docks are actually really good. But this is essentially the game. You slowly build it up, and I emphasize slowly. Because ultimately, if you go too fast, you'll just blow your wad way too quickly. And once we get a town hall, we'll be able to get statistics like population growth and that sort of thing, and how many resources you're building versus you're creating versus how many you're using, and all that kind of stuff. So you can see at the moment right now, this woodcutter has produced 92 firewood so far this season. We've got a small stockpile here, which is 53% full. Our log resource is low. Just going to slow down every time that comes up, because if you let it get... one of the things I like about this game, and also one of the things I find very challenging about this game, is just how finicky it can be. As in, if you let it go, you know, too quickly, too fast, and you let things happen too quickly without keeping an eye on them and without keeping everything in check, then you're going to have a rough time trying to get it all sorted. Which is why I haven't gone flat out to build houses and that sort of thing, because if you have too many houses, the more houses you build, the faster they'll grow. I think we might have reached our fuel limit. No, we're just out of resources, because we have 0 logs. That's why we're getting this forester up and running. But what we can do is we can have them grab some resources from just around here. They can pick up everything. That means they'll start chopping down trees and all that good stuff. Our farmers are working away in the farm. See, they've got a yield going, and that'll go up until it hits. You can force them to harvest early if you want. You can stop work altogether if you need to, and sometimes you do need to. And yeah, they'll work away and then they'll harvest it probably about late summer, maybe early autumn, depending on how efficient they are. Oops, someone's hungry. God damn it. Of course they're hungry. So we don't have any homeless people anymore, which is nice. Our Forester Lodge, yep, there we go. It's up and running. Let's get 1, 2, 3, 4 foresters on the go. I like having it maxed out, so that's generally how I play, is with so if you can have 4 foresters, I like to have 4 foresters. Although sometimes it might be a bit overkill, but right now we really need the logs because, yeah, because we're, you know, doing lots of building and that sort of thing. So let's get a road going straight down here. And I think, even though they're hungry, are we out of food? We are out of food. Okay, so we're waiting for the harvest before anyone can eat. It's kind of unfortunate actually that we don't have a body of water directly near our starting point. Like, that lake is pretty much the closest, but we're going to have to come down here if we want to trade and that sort of thing. And you need to trade to get livestock and new different types of seeds and all that kind of thing. And you want different types of seeds and orchids and that, because that'll keep people happy. But we also need a whole bunch of other stuff. But for now, I think this is a pretty good start. It's about as stable as you can be, although we're running out of food very quickly. Well, we have run out of food, so everyone's going to get hungry very, very quickly. Okay, so firewood has reached its limit. We may need to increase that depending. Our stockpile's looking pretty full. Our barn's looking pretty empty. Ah, good, they're harvesting food. So that'll start filling up with some corn. Beautiful. So hopefully these people will get their shit together and grab some corn for the coming winter. Yep, they're not hungry anymore. And I think right here is about where we're going to leave it for this first episode. So we're going to slowly explore and project, and hopefully we're going to make a really stable civilization. that will be very productive and last a long, long time, and not be hit by famines and disasters and sickness like a lot of people in my previous games have been. So yeah, that's episode 1. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to check it out yourself, there'll be links in the description as always, that sort of thing. Check out the channel, there'll be a playlist for this one coming up as soon as there's a couple of videos on it. And I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.